Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Joni Ogg, and on behalf of the travel professional community and Travel Professional News, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar, and I thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to join us. We're so happy you're here. Today's webinar topic is Ascend at Home, Top 10 Takeaways from the ALG Vacations Ascend of 2020. And today we have three speakers with us, and our host is ALG Vacations, and we're welcoming Jim Tedesco, who's the Vice President of Sales, and Ben Rico, which is he's the Senior Manager of Education and Implementation, and we have Ali Gerakaris, who's the Director of Public Relations and Communications. And today, one of you is going to be super lucky and win 10,000 Waves points for attending today. And we aren't going to do it quite the same as we normally do. We normally do a question, but this time we're just going to have, we're going to pick someone random who has attended the entire webinar. So that will be, we won't be announcing it, but we will be randomly picking somebody and sending that off to them to let you know. So you'll hear directly from them after the event. So just remember that you're all muted, but we're going to welcome your questions for sure. And you can type those in anytime in the question area that you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. And when this presentation is over, we're going to take as many of those questions as we can. So let's turn the microphone over to our speakers. Welcome, Jim, Ben, and Ali. And Jim, I think you're going to start off for us today.
I sure am. Thanks, Joni, and thank you everyone for joining us today. As Joni mentioned, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to have a listen to what we have to say, and hopefully, you take a few good key items out of here, because our Ascend conference, now it's a couple weeks ago, was probably one of the highlights of 2020, and we celebrate all the things these days that we attribute as a success, right? And mainly it was a success because of all the great key material that was included, but also so many great key takeaways designed to really help grow the travel industry back to what we know it's possible of, and not just the industry, but our agency accounts and our own business and our competitors' business. So many really good things to help continue the evolution of the industry. And I'll touch upon some things in a minute that'll all make sense and tie it together, but really help bring us back to where we know we're all capable of being, right? So I like to start our presentations really with our mission, our vision, and our values. Our mission at ALG, if you're unfamiliar, is to turn vacation dreams into lifelong memories. And some of you may have seen the slides, but if you're new to doing business with ALG, this might be the first time you're hearing it. Our vision is to be the first choice in vacation travel, enriching lives and uniting the world. And I like to just pause and touch on that, because you notice that first sentence there, to be the first choice. I recognize, and ALG recognizes, that we are not the only choice. We want to be your first choice, but we also want to be your best choice. And I understand that 2020 hasn't necessarily been the easiest of years for anybody, and we are the first to recognize where we need to continue to grow. But our passion for the industry and our dedication to the agency community makes it very clear that while we want to be your first choice, we want to be your best choice. We know that that's an evolving that's something that evolves, right? It's something that we're always going to work hard to continue to strive to be the company that you want to do business with and the company you deserve to do business with. Our values: we care, we're authentic, we inspire action, we do it together, we own our results, we're hungry for more, we do everything with passion. I share these three key areas because a lot of companies, they all have a mission, vision, and value. But one of the things that I was impressed with, and I joined the company just about 13 months ago, I joined last September. One of the things I was impressed with the company is that they share this external. Many companies have this, but they keep it internal for their own employees. And it aligns with my belief as a leader in the industry, is that success is about accountability, right? And by sharing this document, an internal document, external with you, it invites you to be a true partner and incorporate these into your business, but it also keeps us accountable, right? It keeps us accountable to making sure that we're sticking to our mission, our vision, and our values, and that we're delivering on this. And so I invite you to, participate and join us in making sure that both us and you are implementing this mission, vision, and value into your business, but also I invite you to keep us accountable to it, because that's the reason we share it external. At the end of the day, there is certainly a power to doing business with ALG Group Vacations, and part of that is we have 6 key brands. So if you're unfamiliar, I'm not going to go into too much detail in each because I want to focus on the Ascend stuff. But we have Apple Vacations, we have Travel Impressions, we have FunJet, we have Southwest, we have Blue Sky, and we have United. All of these brands provide a personal touch to every vacation that they provide. And we're not blind to the fact that you're entrusting us with your client's vacation package, and we thank you for that. We thank you for the support. We also know that that comes with a degree of responsibility, right? And that responsibility ties over into reasons why we feel, and it goes back to even me saying about being your first and your best choice in wholesalers. You know, we want to make sure that the power of ALG is not just felt by you but also your customers. By booking with any of our 6 brands, you get unprecedented access to destinations around the world. You get an extensive shopping experience thanks to Vax. Vax is our booking engine for those brands. And we're a vertically integrated company. And so what that means is, you know, we are one of the few companies that can really help make sure that we have a part in every aspect of your customer's vacation. We have our DMC, Amstar. We also have a hotel chain, AM Resorts, that's part of our vertically integrated businesses. Now, that's not to say we don't sell other destinations, and it's not to say we don't sell other hotels. We have great relationships with hotels all around the world. But it does give us an opportunity to build in additional support and education, and have additional touch points to make sure that your client's vacation is looked after from start to finish. Now let's talk about Ascend. We had a fantastic conference. We had almost 2,000 agents attend. We had 138 team members be part of it. We had 73% active participation rate, and you can ask Joni on a webinar to have 73% of the registrants show up. That's a massive success. We had over 730 people on our Facebook page communicating throughout the 2-day conference. We had almost 300 suppliers join us, almost 150 members of the media. And at the end, and this is truly a reason to celebrate, we had over, for us at least, but also time well spent for those attended, 90% rated it very or extremely relevant content, and 92% rated it good or excellent overall. You know, here's the funny thing. When we were planning this, Ascend is always an in-person event, right? We've been doing it for the last couple of years. And it's evolved. For those that were familiar with Summit and the Mark Travel brands, it's now Ascend under the ALGV brands. But we were really worried, how are we going to take that energy and that passion that is created in an in-person event and deliver that into an online event? And what happened was we actually delivered a amazing virtual conference that received so much great feedback that we're actually now worried about the next year's conference being in person and not being able to bring the energy and the passion of the online conference to the in-person conference. But we will figure it out, and at the end of this presentation, I will announce the 2021 dates for Ascend. But what Ascend is about, it's about being, well, actually, here's a couple of the feedback from it: motivated, rejuvenated, excellent, helpful, pertinent, amazing, speakers, essential. This is the point of Ascend. The point of Ascend is to make sure that we're not just talking about our brands. The point of Ascend is to make sure that we're talking about the industry, to make sure that we're providing you additional things on fraud, on social media, on marketing tips, on you know, giving you that additional motivation or that additional enthusiasm to take your business to the next level. Finding guest speakers from everyone from ASTA. We had Zane Kirby from ASTA speak to the crowd, to panels on other suppliers and our executive panel. The concept was open and honest communication. The concept was making sure that we're helping deliver pertinent information that's relevant to the industry as a whole, and to make sure that we are, to make sure that we're continuing to think big and then think bigger. One of the things that our keynote speaker said, and I'm going to take you through it right now, in the very beginning, Mike Rayburn told everyone to close their eyes, and I'm going to invite you to do the same. Close your eyes for a minute. Think about your business. Think about one big idea that you think, no matter how crazy you think it is, one big idea that can take your business to the next level, that will help give that level of passion and enthusiasm back into your business to bring clients back into wanting to book. Now take that idea and now think even bigger. And what Mike's point was, and you can open your eyes now, Mike's point was to define the curve, don't follow it. And here's the thing, we're in our industry has always evolved quite quick, but the last 7 months it's evolved quicker than it's ever been, probably since 9/11. And we are now at a point where we can't just follow the curve. We have to define the curve and we have to figure out what that looks like for our own businesses. We have to feel confident in discovering new opportunities. We have to feel confident in changing quickly. And we have to feel confident in acting decisively. At the end of the day, we are no longer service providers. We're problem solvers. And so if you attended the Ascend conference last year, we had Mike Rayburn present as well. And his whole thing was, what if? What if I did this? What if I did that? And what kind of impact would that then have on your business? But now, especially after the pandemic, you can say what now in a few different ways. You can say what now, like what's going to happen next? Or you can say, instead of what if, what now? What do I do now? How do I react to what's gone on the last 7 months? What now? And so he encouraged everyone, don't get discouraged. Be the hope that your clients need. I've said on a few panels, I think consumer confidence will return when agent confidence returns. And there was a couple workshops we did on social media, and I invite you to go and take a look at them. I'll show you how in a little bit. But go and take a look at them, because the more you can start that dialogue, the more encouraged your clients will be. They'll see the confidence that you have in traveling. Don't be afraid of change. If you're afraid of change, you're going to end up being left behind. And that goes back to the fact that I mentioned earlier about don't wait for the curve, define it. Don't follow it, define what you think that curve needs to be. And to succeed faster, you need to fail faster. I've said to my team quite often that I have no worries that they're going to succeed. I know that my entire team will succeed in this role, in this industry, and in this world. What I fear is that they won't fail. And I am a big advocate of failing forward. You learn from the lessons. Don't be afraid to act decisively and make decisions that you think will help your business. But if you realize that it may not have been the best decision, learn from it. Those that fail actually succeed faster. So I'll ask everyone to ask themselves, what do you have but haven't used? What makes you good but keeps you from being great? And are you driving with the brakes on? I love that last one. Sometimes we feel like we're moving in a direction, but sometimes with the brakes on, all we're doing is running in circles. So continue to ask yourself, are you driving with the brakes on? Now let's talk change. We're living certainly in a time of inevitable change, and it's definitely hard on all of us, but we have the opportunity to thrive. And while most people associate problems with change, there's 5 easy ways to get your team or your customer on board, however you want to look at this. Make sure you're giving them a reason. So if they're having to cancel their trip because of COVID, make sure you're giving them the reason why, and ensure they realize that this is about their safety. Be attentive to their needs. Be empathetic. Never always avoid the because I said so. Acknowledge the good in what used to be. Acknowledge that the trip they had planned was amazing, but in this new trip, they would get this and that, whatever it may be. And be a respectable leader. One of the things that have come up in a lot of panels that I've sat on is that term empathy. As travel advisors, it's our job to guide our customers to finding the right decision. Right now is not the time for us to overcome with hard sells. We used to overcome on price, right? Now we're overcoming safety. Safety is not one you can convince someone outright. You have to guide them to their decision. So be up to date on, we have a COVID self-help page. Feel free to go there and get all the links to airlines and tourism boards and hoteliers to see what their safety practice and protocols are, and help give them the information they need to answer their question, to be empathetic to what they're feeling, because everyone's on a different journey in COVID in terms of feeling comfortable traveling again. And stay positive. One of the sessions that we did with Scott Wiseman, who's our SVP of Trade Brands, those of you familiar with Travel Impressions know Scott used to be the president of Travel Impressions. He did a whole thing on the positive trends in the industry right now. And again, I'll show you in a little bit later how you can go and listen to it. And he joked, but it's quite funny and serious at the same time. You know, pre-COVID, his cat Gabby absolutely could not stand him. As you can see in that picture, Scott's about to get his face clawed off by Gabby. Post-COVID, they have become the best of work friends. So there's one trend, if you're wondering how Scott's doing. But looking at the industry as a whole, people are starting to definitely feel more comfortable thinking of travel. And this was a key takeaway that a lot of travel advisors jotted down and ran with and created some strategies for their business around. Now, not everyone is ready to travel, and that's okay. If you look at this chart, don't worry about the people that choose zero, because sometimes, you know, advisors will look and they'll say, well, wow, 15% are not excited at all and rated it a 0 on how willing they'd be to travel again. But think of it this way. If you look at the 10 down through 6, 53% of people are willing to travel. Customers aren't as concerned with the personal finances. They're more concerned, they're more willing to spend on leisure travel. They're more concerned overall safety. Don't worry about the 0s, the 1s, and the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, and even the 5s. Focus on the 53% that you know you can show empathy towards, answer their questions, and help guide them more likely than others to a decision of wanting to travel again. And the goal here is that it's not to say ignore the 5 down to 0, but the goal is that, you know, you can have conversations with the 1, 2s, and 3s, and hopefully your answers will guide them to become a 4, 5, and 6. And your conversations with 4, 5, and 6 will make them become a 7, 8, 9. And slowly over time, more people will feel more comfortable traveling, and those positive trends will continue to work their way up to the top of feeling extremely excited. Now, continuing with the state of mind to travel, this is another survey that we had conducted with just over 28% of the overall respondees saying that they were ready to travel or they're ready to travel with no hesitation. Now, equal to that, there's another 28% that basically said, I'm ready to travel, but I feel some hesitation. And this goes back to, you know, keep this in mind when you're doing your marketing. Keep this in mind when you're communicating to agents, to consumers, whether it's in person or via email and social media. Keep in mind that there's a drastic range in the level of comfort, and everyone is on their own journey. And mindful movement is, Allie, are you taking this one over, I think, is where I turned it over to you, correct?
That's right.
Great. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yep, we're just waiting for it to move. Thanks, Jim. Hi, everybody. I'm ALG Vacations. I'm the PR and Communications Director at ALG Vacations. And I'm going to talk about 6 of the seminars that were presented at the Ascend conference. So I want to start out with the first one, which is taking some time to be mindful. We have a wellness guru here at ALG Vacations, David Pritchard, and we asked him to put together some programs that would just help us all slow down and take a breath and just reflect. We're all running 100 miles an hour, and when you take the time to take care of yourself, it falls into one of our pillars, mission, vision, values. We care about your full well-being. We care about our employees' full well-being. So take the time for yourself. And when Jim shows us later on where to find this programming, you will find some of the saved on-demand programs that David presented. So just a nice way to pop in and out throughout your day, and just remember to take some time for you. All right, so we're really proud of this program called Walking on Sunshine. It is our recovery campaign. So we all know that, we took a big beating this summer and earlier in the spring. And so we want to take some time this fall and into the winter to not only recover from the lost bookings or recover from, maybe consumer confidence, but also to, just recover, as an industry and how to help you recover. So the recovery campaign is going to prepare us all for the 2021 travel season and educate us how travel looks in a COVID world. We want to help you build confidence so that you are able to provide confidence to your customers. We're working with our hotel and destination partners to get their safety and sanitation protocols, in order to help create factual and newsworthy information. And we want to make this all shareable. So the data, the insight that we have we want to make sure is something that we can share with you, and then make sure you share with your consumers. So one of the things that we did, and you can see the artwork here on the right, is the COVID Travel Edition quiz. We worked in conjunction with the folks at Cision, which is a newswire distribution network, and we put this travel quiz out on the US 1 newswire. So it went nationwide. We received thousands of responses, and we wanted to get an idea of where Americans in general sat in terms of their risk and confidence levels when traveling, and what they think they'll be doing in the future. So this information is helpful because we're able to, as Jim was talking about on the scale of 1 to 10, help adapt conversations in order to sort of help people move along on that scale of 1 to 10. This is an opportunity for you to pass this quiz along to your customers, and then have your customers pass it along to friends, and hopefully within their networks, you'll be able to receive some of that business back. Once we analyze the data, and we're in the process of doing that all now, we're going to make them into digestible, shareable graphics. So you'll have an opportunity to have something to share on social media. And also, we worked with travel expert Mark Murphy, who we lured out of retirement, and asked him to create some custom content for us. So he actually has a video series that documents the trip or the vacation experience from start to finish. So you can get a really great idea of what traveling during COVID looks like, and how people are still having a great vacation experience on their vacation. All right, so this is for the next couple of presentations that we had. The power of social media. So we are really excited to bring not only one, but 2 seminars regarding social media. And there is an increase of 1 million new users on social media over the last year. So we needed to make sure we had the latest and greatest information on how you can use this data and how you can attract those new users and make them part of your network. So the first thing is video. Video is the #1 way to impact a prospective client. This helps you connect and demonstrate your brand and your personality. And while Facebook and YouTube are on top, just want to remind you to keep your eye on TikTok. So it is younger, a younger audience, under 30, but you can hopefully have seen some of the viral videos that have been going around that the TikTok world has created. And if you are so inclined, that would be a great way to make some fun content of your own. Consistency is key. Keep your social presence going. If you have access to a scheduler like Hootsuite, make sure that you have regular posts to keep your agency engaged, and don't overthink it. ALG Vacations has ALGV 360, which is our great marketing platform. We upload all of our professionally designed assets there, and you are able to go there and download and customize them to your own agency, and then use them in your own ad campaigns. So we'll do the work, you do the customization, and then you can push out into your networks and into your other platforms as well. Social trends. So this is another topic that were covered in the social media seminars. We talked about ease, making things easy and uncomplicated when it comes to traveling domestically into Mexico. Safe, ways to highlight ALGV's Trip Trust program, which identifies the hotels and resorts that are following safety sanitation protocols. How to use our in-destination videos to help show that safety and project confidence. On platforms, we discussed using Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram and how to maximize those platforms. And also we talked about experiences, how to maximize culture, nature, cuisine, and not only advertise vacations based on price, but also add a little bit of personalization for your clients. So something that really gets them deep down, whether that is that, culture, nature, cuisine, it's different for every person. It might be more than one thing, but we've discussed those in the seminars. We'll show you how to access them at the end of the webinar. So here's an example. This is an example of how we used the search functionality with a hashtag after Ascend. We wanted to get an idea of how the people who attended Ascend, what they thought about it. So we were able to take a look and really, get some feedback, what they liked, what they didn't like. So just an example of how powerful social media is in order to really get a beat on what your customers and your audiences are thinking. Content is king. So this is a great look back at ALGV 360. So you just go to algv360.com. It has collateral for all 6 of our brands, flyers, banners, social media, and more. So that is all customizable. We encourage you to use it. It is a very well-kept secret, I think. The people who use it love it. And we just want to make sure that everyone knows that it exists and that you are welcome to any of the content that's on there. We change it up frequently, make sure that there's always something fresh in terms of our promotions or our incentives. And then we also have evergreen things up there as well. So you can always go back and take a look, see what's new, and you'll see some favorites on there as well. TravelBlogue. This is very exciting, actually. For us, we are actually transitioning away from printed brochures. So if you are a fan of Apple Vacations, Travel Impressions, FunJet from years back, you'll know that our brochures were always beautiful and colorful, and we were so excited when they were printed and they came out every fall. A little twist on it, though, is that we're taking these online. And when you go online, that means you're not restricted by a piece of paper. You don't have to only, fill the page. You can actually have more content. So we have more photos. We've got video embedded. You're able to expand hotel information and look at the amenities grids. It's searchable. There's a full clickable table of contents. You can bookmark it. The best part about it, though, is that it is customizable. So you can take a look at the hotels that we have put up and that are already listed. You can customize them. If you have somebody who is coming in for a wedding and you want to pick your 5 favorite hotels for hosting a wedding, grab those 5 PDFs, bind them together into a customizable PDF, and then your customer has the important information right at their fingertips. You have the opportunity to share on social media or through e-marketing. So we can help you pass that along to your customers and your networks. And then finally, the content is always current. It seems like when we would go back in the old days and we would print a catalog, by the time it was printed, something had already changed. So this is kind of nice for the type A people like us in the audience, because the content is always easy to update when it's online. You can be sure that it's the most current information available. Oh, just as an aside on TravelBlogue, this is a work in progress. We have some pages that are up and ready for you to take a look at, but the majority of the TravelBlogue will be delivered after the 1st of the year. So just keep patience with us if you don't mind. Our designers are hard at work to make sure that we are delivering a very robust catalog of TravelBlogue content. So when you take a look today, it might not be the same information that's there tomorrow or next week. It just will keep growing. So the complement to TravelBlogue is TravelBlogue, and that is our new blog that we have made specifically for travel agents. So this is not a consumer-facing blog. This is definitely for you, for your enjoyment to read, for you to get some tips or some information out of, and that is at ALGV. TravelBlogue.com, and we will be announcing that to the marketplace this week. It'll be heading out to all of our news partners in a PR format. So we're giving you the edge here today and letting you know that that is live. Please feel free to go through it, take a look, and make sure that you are reading the content and checking it out regularly, because we are definitely updating it regularly. And that's it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ben Recab.
Hey, all right, everybody. You need to be the MC for me like every time I do a webinar. Like if you could just open up like that, maybe we get some applause in the background or something cool. Maybe just, light some fires, get some smoke screen. I don't know. Hey, everybody. This is Ben Recab. I'm the Senior Manager of Education and Implementation. Ascend was super exciting. Obviously enhanced policies and programs. We got to announce 3 awesome new changes that we think are really going to help you succeed for the end of 2020 and obviously 2021 and moving forward. And you can see the 3 on the screen. I'm going to jump into these one by one, and we really should start with low deposits with Travel Protection Plus. And Jim, if you wouldn't mind just flipping over the slide for me. Maybe I'm a little delayed on my end. Perfect. So they're back and they're available for Travel Impressions, Apple Vacations, FunJet Vacations, and Blue Sky Tours. 1 second, let me blow up my screen on my end. There we go. And it's for any booking that is made between 9/25/20 and 1/3/21. And what we did was for any type of air, as long as you booked the Travel Protection Plus voucher only plan or travel credit only plan, however you want to word it, we will bring that deposit all the way down to $250 plus the cost of the trip protection and that travel credit only plan. This plan is incredible. Not only is it the least expensive, but you are getting $200 commission protection per room. I think the most important feature about it, on top of getting the low deposit, is if you offer the travel credit only to your clients and they cancel, what does that mean? They get a full year to use it again. It means you're keeping the booking in-house, you're keeping your commission because you know you're going to book it again. So it's just a win-win all around. And so if you haven't used it before, through in the past with Apple Vacations having AVOK as a travel credit, you've never used it, I really want to encourage you to give it a shot. I think especially after COVID-19, everybody's going to be wanting to add travel protection onto all of their bookings. It made things very simplistic when it came to changes. So hopefully you're always recommending that with every client that you speak to. Let's talk about no brand change fees. Yeah, I don't like them either. We don't like them very much. We know that you're on your rebooking of a rebooking of another rebooking that was originally booked in March, and you're just going through all these changes with different passengers that couldn't go on the original booking, and now they're having to move. And so we just decided to take a step back through the 5 brands here and just say we're not going to charge brand fees anymore for anything that was made from 9/30/20 to 1/3/21. Now there could be supplier fees with the airlines and the hotels, and that's obvious. That's always going to be the standard. But we just decided if you're going to keep the money in house and you're going to move that booking over to a new booking, we're not going to charge you a fee. That's not very fair to you. We need to be flexible as a tour operator, and it's great to see that we are doing that. All right. And last but not least, for this section, it's just committed to your health with Trip Trust. This is a group of hotels that have gotten together to adhere to certain government protocols and safety procedures that are passed down to them from government trusted agencies like CDC and WHO. When you're actually in a booking and you're in the hotel section, look in the top right-hand part, you'll see the little Trip Trust logo, and that way you can see that this hotel is part of this group that has formed a pack, and make sure that you show that to your clients. We know you're getting a lot of questions about COVID-19 and, is the housekeeping going to be wearing masks? What's going to be the protocol at restaurants? We even have our Walking on Sunshine campaign that talks about giving a quiz to your clients so that they know what to expect when they're checking in at the airport. But for Trip Trust, this is really honed in on the hotel itself and knowing that you can trust that resort. Fantastic. The more you know, and I wish we had the little rainbow that flashed across because Jim and I love that show, the more you'll grow. So education at Ascend this year was, obviously it's my area of expertise. I'm passionate about it. We had 35 workshops that were created to not only inspire, but really arm you with training to elevate your business. We dove into the rule of 3 with TPP. I actually hosted that one. I think that's a big reason for that 90% extremely relevant content. Not really, I like to think about that, but we did get a great reception on that. Just going over our different Travel Protection Plus plans, it was a huge success. This next one, I ran a session on get off the phone and ways that why you need to call in to customer support for help and reasons that you don't need to. And I'm really inspired at what Jim was saying earlier. I ran this webinar and it did not go well at all. It was designed to be something, I like to think outside the box. I like to just be different and crazy because I think the risk is always worth the reward. And I know this sounds a little cliche, but I kind of channeled my inner Mike Rayburn. And when it turned out to not work, I remember sitting back and I just said, like, what now? Like, what do I got to do? And I didn't just sit there and say, well, it didn't work and I'll get them in 2021. And we learned from these things. No, I had to write an email to every single one of the attendees that it didn't work for, and invite them to another session next week that I reran with the same format that I was planning to run, and a very live interactive game. And I was very just honest in my email and just saying, like, it didn't work, but guess what? I failed forward. And I'm okay with taking risks, and I love doing it. And I think that's what Ascend's about, is trying to learn and educate through different ways. But I definitely don't drive with the brakes on, Jim. And guess what? You have my full confidence that I'll have your confidence that you can always expect me to fail in the future. Okay, bud? So don't worry about that. And obviously the get off the phone turned out to be a big success the next week. And I begged for a hotel stay to be given away on that. And Jim's going to go over it a little bit later, how you can access these in the future through Ascend 2020 Unpacks. And then obviously we covered the social. Oh, you can go back just one real quick. Allie covered a lot of this, but social media in a pandemic has never been needed more. Like, how are you marketing yourself? If the bookings aren't coming in, what are you doing to capture when they do come back, and for 2021, and getting those rebookings and inspiring the deals that we're offering? ALG V360 that Allie talked about, huge. And TravelBlogue, I am in love with this. I think Allie, you did a great job of explaining it. I'll just explain from a novice side of somebody who isn't very familiar. I looked on Apple Caribbean today, and it was just so cool to dive into all these countries and the hotels that are sold within, and the different ways. And you can customize these brochures to just make them specifically for a client that you're trying to sell to. It's just really cool, and a special hats off that it makes the little page turning sound every time you click it. So I love that. All right, Jim, next one. The power of partnership. I love this this circle right here. The travel advisor is always on top for a reason. You get the lead from the client, you pass it down to us, the tour operator. We make these bookings and make sure those airlines, those hotels are filled. And then the ground operator, of course, their eyes and ears and destination, and they keep us posted, in terms of transfers, features. But it's important that this link stays together. I'm not going to use the term that you're only as strong as your weakest link, because nobody's a weak link on this at all. If one of these areas is broken, then it falls apart. And Ascend 2020 really focused on that this year, was getting these 5 together and being in an area to ask questions, show videos, be there for just a flat out Q&A, general sessions with Jackie speaking. It was just great to see everybody come together and work, because this 2020 will always be known as the year that it was a crisis for the industry, but how do we work together and how do we come out of it? And our amazing suppliers, it's difficult to put into words how incredible they are when you're putting together an event like this. For them hosting at the supplier booths, them making videos, them responding to all of the back and forth emails that it takes to put together a virtual event like this, and just them coming out open-armed to us and saying, like, what do you need? And giving us incentives to give away, and just being like they always have. They've always been top. We've always had that great relationship, and it was never more evident in 2020 Ascend. And here's just a couple of the different ways that you can absorb that information. I talked about those supplier workshops that are available on demand, and Jim's going to go into more detail on that. But we had over 93 booths in the supplier showcase that you could just jump into. We had premium assets loaded, dedicated supplier panel. I kind of dive into something different every day that I need to focus on. So on the next screen, you'll see we ran the events. Well, these were the virtual FAM. So I did this first. I did Dreams Natura last week. And then this week I'm doing Riu Palace. I've already done that. And then next week I've got Iberostar that I'm going to do. But I'm kind of doing it in order where I learn something new every day. And this is one area that I need to be better at, is understanding these resorts. So even for someone that works for Apple Leisure Group Vacations, I'm learning something new through these virtual FAMs. And then the events, of course, these special events. I love these. I think these are great. I actually watch these before, when I'm done with work for the day and it's time to have dinner, I'll watch one of these I did the Iberostar dining experience last night, and it was really cool. They make a Sea Fresh, which is like their signature cocktail that they made for all the Ascend attendees, and it was like mango with orange liqueur and had lemon in it, and actually made one last night, and then I actually forgot to eat dinner, but that's a long story. Just kidding there. They actually show you how to make a snapper on the Iberostar video at the end. So I just love these videos to dive in and just get an on-demand look and have the video pop up right on your screen, and you can access this through Vax. And I just think it's a great program, and it's just, there's so much in here that I just really want to advise for you to just break down one session, you know, one day or 1 week at a time, so you can take in all this knowledge. And trust me when I say it'll definitely make you a more powerful agent. So without that, I'm going to send it back over to Jim, and he can take it from here.
Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate that. Good job. And thank you, Allie. Same to you. Okay, so what exactly is next? So what we wanted to do today was give you a taste of what Ascend was like. And we were doing it for a few different reasons. One, we want you to join us in 2021, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we also wanted you to see really what Ascend is all about. And so from here, from an ALG perspective, we recognize that we need to create value for you and your customers, right? We need to continue to focus on efficiencies. We need to empower our frontline agents. We need to improve our technology roadmap, and we need to make sure that we continue to be relationship driven. Those were 5 of the main key takeaways that us as a company took away from Ascend. And, you know, I'll touch upon the technology roadmap. Here's one area where I think if you look back in the last 7 months, you'll realize that, you know, us as a company own Vax, which is a fantastic booking tool. I've loved it since the day I started, and I loved it before I even started with the company, quite honestly. However, all of our technology roadmaps in the past have been focused on the frontline agent, have been focused on new tools and upgrades and enhancements to Vax that affect the booking agent. We haven't really focused much on the back end. And during COVID, I think everyone pretty much realized how much more technology efficiency and productivity we need in the back end of the accounting systems. So a lot of the roadmap you'll start to see in 2021 and even this last quarter in 2020 has really been focused on some of the back end, but at the same time, those back end technologies will help improve the front end. And we have been continuing to focus a little bit on the front end technology as well. Now, everything that we just talked upon, we didn't go into too much detail, but we gave you sort of like a taste of everything that happened at Ascend. We've now taken everything that happened on our online platform and moved it to a Vax page at algvacations.com/ascend2020. It's on your screen. And we've now created this Ascend content lounge. Everything that we just touched upon, all the general session presentations, all the 35 workshops we did, the virtual FAMs, the events, the information about the TravelLog and the TravelBlogue, which, by the way, I'm in love with the TravelLog. Just think of it almost as like the ability to, you can go in there and the presentation will cover it, but you can go in there, guys, and say, okay, I want to send this information over to my client, but instead of sending them a full 100-page brochure with you like sort of turning down virtually a few of the pages for them to look at, you can actually select, I want them to know about Amstar, I want them to know about these 5 properties, and I want them to know about trip protection. And that will create your own little e-brochure that you can then send off to your customers. So they're only seeing what you want them to see. And the pictures have like a scrolling carousel, so it's not just one picture on a brochure page like it used to be. You can actually click on it and additional pictures will come up. There's videos embedded. It's so cool. And so definitely take that workshop. But you'll be able to find all of this right here now on the algvacations.com Ascend 2020 page. And we want you to join us next year. So next year, the conference is at the Cancun Convention Center, just like we were planning on doing it this year, but we had to postpone it a year. And it will be October 14th to the 17th, 2021. We haven't released any registration or anything like that yet. We're still trying to figure out actually what hotels we would put everyone up at. So once we get all the details together, we will send it through, and you guys, we would love nothing more than for you to register and join us. We're hoping to have about 500 agents, but we're hoping to push it a little bit more if we can fit more. But then also hoping that by October, we are in a much different and better social distancing protocol area of the world or time of the world, where we can have that many in one place. So we'll see where we're at, but October 14th to 17th for now, mark it on your calendar, and we hope to see you there. And that is it for us. I'm going to turn it back over to Joni, and I'll thank you guys for your time and your attention today, and see if any questions came through about anything we've covered during Ascend, or any other questions just about ALG in general.
Thank you. Well, that was fantastic, Jim and Allie and Ben. Great information and lots of fun listening to you guys talk about what was obviously a very successful event. And I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to hear about next year too. Let's all cross our fingers and say a lot of prayers and hope
I
that
know.
everything is great, and we get to, you get to have people next to each other in a room and enjoy mingling together in person. It should be
I
awesome.
know.
But I think
I
we've
know.
done what you guys, what we've all been dealt with this year in terms of conferences. I mean, it's been a challenging year that way. I mean, if you've ever organized conferences, this is, doing it virtual is not easy, but it's exciting to see that it's worked so well, and that you guys have had such a successful event, as I know other companies have as well. It's really, it tells us a lot about, we put our heads down to the metal and we make it happen, right? And you guys have
We
did a great
try.
job. It's really a great job.
Thank
So I've got a few questions, not too many, but I'm going to address a few of them here if that's good with you. First of
Sure.
all, somebody is just sharing, and it's a good question if you don't know a lot about your products, and they're just asking, what's the difference between booking with FunJet or Apple?
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to take that in two parts. So I think the first part is to say that we as a business as a whole know that we probably have to do more pinpointing more differences between some of the brands. But at the same time, it's tough because we love all 6 of our brands, and we try and find some efficiencies among them by making it easier on you and us in some of our policies and stuff. But by doing so, it starts to blend the brands together a bit, right? But if you were to compare, let's say, FunJet to Apple, FunJet offers the entire Disney product line, and that's one point of differentiation between them and any of our other brands. And so what we like to say when looking at it is that we don't care which brand you book with. In fact, my BDM team covers all 6 brands. My BDMs, their job is to have the conversation with you to figure out, what does your business look like? Do you book a lot of Europe? Do you book a decent amount of Hawaii? Do you do more Mexico, Caribbean? Are you doing a decent amount of Disney and now starting to pick up more all-inclusive as well? We try and find what brand fits the best for you. And so let's say you were to do some Disney, but not enough to be earmarked. We would say FunJet's probably a really good brand for you, because FunJet's the only brand that can sell the on-site tickets, the hotels, the airfare, all that package into one. But at the same time, you can book all your Mexico, Caribbean there. So you might as well book your Disney with FunJet and allow that to help your overall production, to help you earn more and get to the next production tier for commission when booking all of your Mexico and Caribbean as well. Where with Apple's very strong in just all-inclusive sun and sand type destinations. Anywhere AM Resorts goes, Apple Vacations always follows as well, right? So you can book your Mexico, Caribbean. They now have some domestic product. You can also book some of the AM Resorts does have some additional destinations now outside Mexico, Caribbean, which you can book through Apple as well. So there's small differences. There isn't large differences, but I would say reach out to your BDM. We're like the silent partners in your business. We want to be there to help you make the right business decisions that make the most sense for your business. And we can walk you through each of the brands and walk you through where there's similarities and where there might be differences that would help your brand. TI, for example, they have more Europe. They have a villa program, but they also have a decent amount of Europe products. So like I said earlier with Disney, if you did a lot of Mexico, Caribbean, but also did some Europe product, it might make sense to focus more on TI, because then you would book all your Mexico, Caribbean there, but then you'd also be able to earn that similar commission for the the handful of Europe bookings you do a year as well. So little differences in all of them, but we do recognize we probably have to spend a little bit more time in really defining each of the brands. 2020 has just been a bit of a crazy year. We haven't necessarily spent as much time on that as we probably should.
So along with that question, I'm going to kind of address one that was down the list a little bit, and it says, what type of commission program do you have in place? Is it different for each brand?
They're for the most part fairly aligned in terms of the production. I will say Blue Sky Tours is very different in the sense that with Blue Sky, they focus on Hawaii, but the commission is based on the total package price. So the higher the price of the package, the more commission you earn. It doesn't matter how much you do in a year with them. So if you have a $10,000 Hawaii booking, highly recommend looking at Blue Sky because you definitely be towards the higher end of the commission bracket, even if you only do one. That's the only booking you do with them a year. TI does have commission that goes up to 16%. All the other brands have commission that go up to 15. But along with TI, there are some, other things that justify a slightly higher price sometimes, and then comes along with that 16%. So again, we could certainly go through that with your BDM. I highly recommend reaching out to them, but for the most part, the commissions are fairly similar.
Perfect. Okay. And then another question that I have, this is a little more specific, and they're asking, are the American Airlines flights included in low deposit when travel insurance is purchased?
Yes, all flights.
Okay,
So
perfect.
all types of flights, fares, and all that stuff, as long as you purchase the travel protection with the future travel credit.
Okay, perfect. All right, good question and good answer. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Someone just made a comment, and they're just kind of wondering, saying that clients like the paper brochures, and we all know that, and we all like to touch, the brochures and real books and such. But obviously, with technology and with the cost of production and all that, it certainly isn't not an easy thing to do a lot of paper brochures. You guys have got so many brands, so she's saying our clients really like the paper brochures, and totally understandable. And do you think you're ever going to go back to paper?
I mean, look, never say never, right?
Right.
I think the timing of it right now is really good, especially with, who knows. Look, I'll be honest with you, the only time I think that the paper brochures really come in handy is like when you're doing bridal shows and things like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we're kind of evolving into this whole new style of probably doing shows moving forward. And, I'd even recommend, because I love these travel logs so much, I'd recommend, you can go create a travel log specific to that bridal show. All the properties that you feel would be perfect for that event. It doesn't have to be bridal show. We'll say it's bridal show for example purposes. All the honeymoon hotels, all the destination wedding hotels, all the ones that you think are perfect. And then you can just Google how to create a QR code, create a QR code, and then link it to the travel log that you've saved. And so everyone that comes to your booth, they scan it with their phone, and then it's saved directly to their phone, and it links them directly to wherever you've saved it, your website, a file plate, wherever. But at least then they have it. And I think even moving forward, I think you're going to see more and more people do that. So never say never about the paper brochures, but we're really excited about this evolution of it and really making these brochures so visually pleasing. And when I heard we were doing these, I had the same thing. I was like, oh, I don't know. But then when I saw it, I was like, well, this is awesome. It's not just a paper brochure that's now digital. It's actually multiple pictures that you can scroll through. It's video links that come up and you can watch the video that the partner puts in. Think about all the room categories a hotel has. Well, you look at the brochure, you only see like 1 or 2 pictures max. Then you have to go to the website. Now you can actually send them something that they can click, see all the room category pictures. It's all loaded in there depending on what the hotel's uploaded, but it keeps them all within the brochure that you've sent them rather than going to TripAdvisor or to Expedia or to the hotel's website directly. It stops them from going to all these other places that kind of takes them away from your business. This keeps them all together. So there's definitely perks to it. I think we just have to keep our mind open to, certainly the pros of it. But like I said, never say never.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Well, good answer. Thank you very much for that. So let me see if we've got how many more we got. Let me see if there's anyone. Okay, so I think we're kind of getting down to the wire. I know there have been a couple other questions, but I know you will all see those. That everyone needs to know the speakers will see the questions afterwards as well, so they can certainly address those independently, knowing where they come from, because they'll have your information. So I just want to make sure that if we didn't answer your question, that you know that. And I think the last question I'm going to ask before we do the prize is, can we access Ascend with our regular sign-in?
Yep. So you just go to that algvacations.com/ascend2020, and it will be the exact same login that you would use for Vax normally.
Okay, perfect. Well, that was a good
Yeah.
final question. Thank you for that. I just
And I
want to
will,
remind.
I was just going to throw out one
Yeah.
more thing too. Also, if you don't remember that entire, web link, just type in Ascend into the search box in the top right hand part of the box. Yeah,
Perfect.
just type in Ascend. It's the very first thing that pops up. It says Ascend 2020, and then bam, you're in. So I think many of you have that Vax home screen bookmarked to go directly to that. Continue that bookmark if you want to do it that way.
Oh,
You're so smart,
great.
Ben.
That was a good tip. Great tip,
I'm
Ben.
working
Great
on it,
tip.
Jim. Thanks.
It's a work in progress, right? All right, guys. So I want to thank you all, but I want to just mention that, remember, they are going to be kindly giving away 10,000 wave points to one of the attendees, and we will let you know who wins that independently. I want to thank everybody for being here. To our speakers, you guys, that was awesome. You got through a lot of information in a short period of time, but you didn't miss a mark, and we really appreciate your being here and sharing with the agents here at Travel Professional News, and thank you for that. Thank you to the agents. You guys were awesome as always. Great questions and great attention to these speakers. So I thank you all for being there. Did you guys want to have any last words before we end it for the day?
Yeah, I'll just also personally thank everyone. I do appreciate it, but I'll finish it with the exact same thing I started it with, and that is, we want to be your first choice as a wholesaler, but we absolutely recognize that you have a choice in wholesalers, and we don't just want to be the first, we want to be the best. And so you have my promise that we will continue to evolve and work and try our best to make sure that you don't have to think twice as to who you want to book your clients with or who you trust your client's vacation with. You certainly have my word that we will continue to work hard and strive to be the best wholesaler we possibly can be, so that we are not just the best, but that we earn your trust and earn the respect, so that you don't have to think twice as to who to go to next. So thank you again for today, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And if anybody wonders, that we did record this, and it will be available on travelprofessionalnews.com later this afternoon if you want to view it again. And again, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Allie. And thank you, Ben. Have a great day, everybody.